Streaming, I'm starting.
Okay, so when you give a thumbs up, then we'll start. I guess it started, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Namaste, everyone. A fresh morning at 5 a.m. IST. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the Habit Huddle as a part of the 4 a.m. club, or the Sattvic Habit Club, that about more than 250 to 300 of us have come together. And today we will focus on the story of Miss Shanthi Natarajan ji, who has been waking up regularly at 4 a.m. for the last 12 years. And she has also practiced and performed sun salutations to the tune of 100 and more than 200 as well. And so we are here to listen to her story and take inspiration and ask her a lot of questions on how was she able to form such a very strong, solid habit of waking up at 4 a.m. for the last 12 years. Okay, so we'll start with a brief centering exercise, centering practice. Request everyone to sit straight. Wherever you're sitting, on chair or sofa. If you're sitting in Sukhasana or Padmasana, that's fine. Sitting on chair is also fine. Sit straight. You can close your eyes gently and place your palms on your thighs. You can face the palms towards the sky, resting on your thighs or knees as you feel comfortable. If you're sitting on chair, firmly keep your feet on the ground. Completely drop the weight of the body on the seat. Relax the entire body. Inhale deeply and exhale completely. Inhale, exhale, and let go. Relax the complete body. Take your attention to the feet. Relax your feet, ankles. Relax the calf muscles, knees, thighs. Relax the glute muscles. Relax the pelvic region. Relax the waist, lower back, middle back, upper back. Relax and let go. Relax the abdominal muscles. Breathe easy. Relax the entire chest region. Completely relax the shoulders, both the hands, the wrists, palms, back of the palms. Relax. Relax the shoulder region again. Relax the neck muscles. Completely relax the facial muscles. Relax the entire head region. Inhale deeply. Exhale and let go. Bring the attention to the tip of the nostrils. Observe. Feel the cool air coming into the nostrils as you inhale and warm air exiting out. Express a deep sense of gratitude for being able to inhale and exhale. Express deep gratitude for this life, for this new day, a new opportunity to experience life. With this deep sense of gratitude for everything we have, the broad smile on your face, you may slowly blink and open your eyes for new possibilities. You may come on video if you wish to. So I see Ujas and Shantiji already. All right, so without further ado, thanks everyone for joining so early in the morning if you're joining from the Eastern world. And I'm sure there are people from other geographies who are awake late at night to know this inspirational story. So pleased to welcome Shanthi ji to the 4 a.m. club, the Sattvic Habits Club. You may do a voice test, Shanthi ji, once.
Hello, namaste.
Yes, perfectly audible. So let's dive in right away. Shanthi ji, please help us understand who you are. I know we are all trying to figure out the true who we are, but in this model world, who you are, and then we'll take it from there.
That's the most difficult question to answer, actually. First and foremost, before even starting to share anything, I want to start by expressing my gratitude. First of all, gratitude to you, Manjunath ji, for giving an opportunity and calling me to connect with my fellow members in this huddle. I think I happened to casually mention in some conversation to Sri Hari ji, and I think he posted about this, and that's how others came to know. So gratitude to Sri Hari ji for that. And there are many fellow members in Sangam who are very early risers and who have been practicing this, and they have their own ways of working. And gratitude to them for being together in this journey. And of course, gratitude to all the people who are gathered here for taking time out. And very, very happy morning. Namaste, Suprabhadam, and Shubhadam. So Manjuna ji, you asked me to tell about myself. What aspect of that you want me to tell? Because it's a very difficult question according to me. So let's be more contextual in this discussion so that.
Sure. To simplify, see, before we start forming new habits, let's understand the persona, right? So you can share whatever you'd like to share about, where you live, what have you done, a very brief journey of your life so far, so that we understand the context of you, the person first. What you do. Yeah, go ahead.
So I am based out of Chennai, and I work in TCS. So that's been my first company, and I'm just completing 25 years in TCS. So that's a very happy milestone personally for me. Then from being more focused from a health and wellness angle, because it's a context of discussion. I'm quite an active person by nature. Right from childhood, I've been into various activities, sports, into different kinds of, be it adventure sports or be it walking, running, something or the other. I always used to be participating, quite rajasic that way, I could say. And probably that nature in me kind of keeps me on my toes and like to be active. And yoga, first, my father has been my biggest inspiration for my yoga, which I didn't realize in the beginning, but I realized after I got into the journey at a later point of time. My father used to practice yoga in a very, very disciplined way. I mean, I'm nowhere near his discipline. He used to be such a disciplinarian, following everything. And that 2 years back, when there wasn't much exposure to yoga, learning and doing it all by himself. And during my childhood days, I used to see that, but I didn't know anything what he was doing. I couldn't connect with that much. But later on, I think once I got into my own life and work and traveling and all that, at one point of time when I was a spinster and I was living in an apartment, there was a yoga class to which I was kind of, got into. And that's when I tried yoga, and that point of time, traveling, eating food outside and all that, it started having a very good impact on digestion and various other aspects. So I understood the value in a small way. And that's it. Then again, back to the usual busy schedules and things. Then post-marriage, post-pregnancy, all women especially, you're too busy taking care of your child, your spouse, your in-laws, your parents, everybody else in the family, plus you're working, and there's hardly any time for yourself. So at some stage, I felt one day that, no, it was over a period of time that thought has been lingering, that when do I logically start putting my health in priority? So that is when I decided at a certain point of time, when I felt my kid is little bit grown up and I could spend some time for myself. And that's when I decided, okay, I need to put my health as a priority and I need to start taking time for myself. And there's no harm in being selfish, because generally there is this feeling, okay, I'm doing things for myself. No, I think it's more important that you need to start caring for self. If you don't care about yourself well, you can't care about others in a bigger way. So everything starts from within, and unless we try it and practice, taking it to a larger scale becomes difficult. So that's when I decided, I said, okay, how do I bring about that change? So I just sat and thought in terms of what are all the small things that I can do in order to start bringing health into focus, maybe walk for a few minutes. Or I specifically wanted to spend time with myself doing nothing. I wanted those few minutes of me time. That was extremely important for me to have my own meeting with myself and energize myself. So that was very important. Then I thought, okay, since I had exposure to yoga, and then I started reflecting on how my father used to be and the benefits that were there. I wanted to start with yoga. I didn't feel like I have been to the gym, and not that I've not been there before and all, but somehow yoga was what I really wanted to just get started. So, and that time, I think we didn't have so many yoga centers around. It wasn't as, prevalent like how it is today and how it is widespread today. So, finding a yoga class was difficult for me. Finding a teacher was difficult. No internet, no mobile phone and things. So, I just like that was trying out in areas where I stayed nearby. I wanted to, try and get started with something. And for me, that time yoga was just asanas, just like how everybody else thinks. And we know that starting with some form of exercise is going to help your body. So I just got started with, went and found out a yoga center nearby and started attending those classes. But unknowingly, unconsciously, I was slowly getting pulled into it. I was somehow there was a inner connection. Probably, I don't know, it's because of the influence of my father, what I've seen, and or whatever the little exposure I got before marriage and stuff. And something I started liking, I started feeling the benefits little by little. Like everybody else, I was just going and trying to learn an asana, a posture a little better. How do I get it better? That is all I knew. I didn't know anything beyond that.
How many years ago was this? How many years ago was this?
Probably this around 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's when actually I started slowly doing the asanas, and I wanted to the curiosity of what's the science behind yoga. Is it just asanas, or by doing just a posture, what is happening inside? So when you go to classes, these aspects don't get normally covered, right? The focus is about helping them become active and healthy. So I also was for a few years trying to learn and become better at performing the asanas, but there was always this curiosity behind my mind, and that was not getting quenched. That's when then I started reaching out, and more we got exposed to internet and medias and other forums. I came to know about the various centers, slowly started talking to people, networking. I started reading books and yoga. Some of the yoga books I got before I never finished, like Hatha Yoga Pratipika, and then even Krishnamacharya's Light on Yoga. These books I bought quite a few years back. I started, I've not finished the full book. I started, and now somehow destiny has brought me to study them as well. And so I started visiting different yoga centers. I went to different teachers, what they are teaching, why is it very different? I went to Sri Shri's camp. I went to, Krishnamachari center. I went to different yoga teacher center to understand what is that they are teaching differently, what it is. Started attending lectures. Then I started reading a lot more. I used to ask a lot of questions to my teacher. My teacher would say, like, you're a very inquisitive kind of a person. So I used to ask why this, that. So that was my way of learning. And the more and more I started understanding, my exposure was expanding. I started loving it. I started feeling the connection going more deeper and deeper. And somehow I became very passionate about this yoga thing. While I've also been a marathon runner, and I used to run marathons for years, now I've kind of slowly moved out of that. And I practice other cross fitness and other things, but those all come and go. Yoga was always like the constant thing which I couldn't drop it. So I always wanted to keep doing the yoga way of doing things. And that's when I felt that I wanted to get into a proper, deeper learning. And when we got this opportunity in TCS to do certifications, it was more than a certification. I wanted to understand the literature. I wanted to understand the science, the whys and the whats, and all the questions running. And how can you become better person? That was very, very important for me. How do I improvise myself? How do I become better? And I think I'm really very grateful to TCS that way, where the exposure has come. It's like, it's come at your doorstep. Been going around and getting that knowledge from different places and traveling, but now it has come at the doorstep, and I really wanted to capitalize on that opportunity that came. And after listening to so many, great teachers, the knowledge is definitely improving. It is lot better. And now with the MSc journey, apart from the YCB journey, I think getting to learn a lot more, and it's extremely enriching. And definitely yoga overall has made me a better person over the years, and I'm still trying to become much better, I would say.
Wonderful, wonderful. Very nice to know about the broader journey that you have, Shantiji. So now you mentioned that your father sort of inspired you for your foray into the space of yoga. So walk us through those moments. It may not be just one moment, probably over a period of time. How did that influence your waking up early in the morning habit?
My father, okay, I'll tell a little bit background. My father was a police officer. He's no more. So he had a bit of that discipline in his blood, I would say. And I don't know when and how he learned yoga and where did he go and practice, because generally they are into the regular fitness routine and stuff. But he used to get up every day. He used to follow all the routines to the T. He used to get up at the right time every single day for so many years. As I told you, as a child, I didn't realize the importance of the habits that he was practicing. But when I became an adult and when I was trying to get into things and I reflected and looked back what my dad did, that is when I felt a lot of the things he had subconsciously influenced me rather than forcing me. And that was coming to my conscious mind. And today I was trying to emulate and, try to follow that path. So he used to get up all by himself and practice this. I'm talking about 20 years or 30 years back, right? Like right from my childhood. So that time there weren't many to guide, but he used to regularly, irrespective of whatever things at home, his karma or karma yoga, he used to follow ditto. Even the food, when my mother used to serve, he won't take even a one speck of rice extra. My mother, they used to argue. She said, no, I want in this cup only this much of measurement, only this much of rice. So he used to follow that Vitahara, Hitahara. Today we learn as concepts. Those days we never had a name. But those concepts were actually implemented on the ground. And whenever I was learning here and I was trying to correlate to the habits my father was doing, that was inspiring me more and more. If he could do without even understanding the science behind it and realizing the value, then why can't we also do? So every small thing he says, no, you have to have a lot of self-control. I used to ask him as a child, I didn't know much. He said, when you grow up, you will understand. Today, it might be very, very difficult. So we used to have those small conversations at the dining table or whenever he's doing something. And and when I realized this, I started doing this to my child. I don't enforce my child in everything. While certain things are very, very important, yes, I do tell it strictly, like he has to do certain things. But when it comes to certain sattvic habits and stuff, I wanted to follow the approach that my dad did because it went in very strongly in for me, and that is also happening to my child. I subconsciously want to influence him while he doesn't get up and do yoga every single day. But when there is a need, that automatically happens. Say when his exams happen, he used to say, Mom, wake me up at 4. I never told him you have to wake up at 4 and study. I never told him you have to do this. He automatically started following those habits and he did it on his own. So when you don't force anything, that kind of, when people do it out of their own will, it's kind of stays longer. So
Nice. So I think I really relate a lot to what you just said, that they say, right, to understand what a parent goes through, probably you had to step into the shoes sometime to realize, you know, oh, when I was a child, my parents were asking me to do these things, and I never did that. And now I want my child to do that. My child is not doing that. So we understand the parents' plight. And so, were you an early morning child in your childhood?
not as early as 4 a.m., but when it came to studies, I used to see when there was a need, I used to get up. Like, I can't stay very late in the night, but when there was a need for study or to do something, go early, I used to be able to get up. But on a daily basis, no. At least by 6 o'clock, I used to wake up. But during exam times, I used to kind of wake up.
Okay, okay.
That's probably that's what, as I said, my father influenced that.
Hmm. So broadly, the discipline at home influenced you over a period of time. Okay. So when exactly this 4 a.m. thing started for you later in life?
12 years back,
See, the
2010.
moment 2010. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think what happened in 2010 in my life, so that just the the timeline matching is what is happening in my head right now. So it's said that, to learn any new habit, there are different numbers people tell. If you do something for 21 days, then you stick to it, or then there is a whole explanation about one mandala of 40 plus days, and then there is 60 days. So there are different theories about forming new habits for a period of time. And especially this number 12 years, especially when it comes to brahmacharya, there is a very strong association of, if you follow brahmacharya strictly for 12 years, that positions you very strongly for higher spiritual progression. So, and I think 4 a.m. for 12 years is as equal to that. So help us understand how regular it is, like every day for 12 years, and were there days
Yes.
when things were not happening at 4 a.m. So walk us through this 12 years of 4 a.m. thing.
Yeah. 4 a.m. every single day, yes, except for the days when you're either very, for some reasons unwell, or you're traveling for work, or in the middle of a thing that you're not doing. But other than that, yes, it's been 4 a.m. every single day. For ease of understanding, and for people, see, those who are already early risers, this quite be very easy, right? So since they're already doing it. But for people who are getting into this, I thought, let me try. I was reflecting upon when you called, and I was thinking because this 12 years struck only now because of the recent conversations. I didn't realize 12 years had passed, actually. Because it just became part of your day-to-day thing. I will try to split this into 3 parts, right? And when I reflected, the 3 formulas came to my mind as to what really worked for me. So one part is, how do you actually, I got started, and the other part is, what is the preparation that is required for you to get started? And as you keep doing, how do you sustain it? So I think all the 3 together becomes very important as a package for us if you want to do it for quite a while. So the actual starting of the habit, I would go, my personal formula is the 3C formula. First thing is choice. As I just mentioned in the story about, you should not be forced upon. If somebody says, no, you get up, and then you're getting up for a particular thing, if it is not a self-made decision, then that is not going to stick for long. You're only going to do to satisfy somebody else. You're not doing because you really want it. So your decision has to be to get up at 4 a.m. by choice. You should have had a self-realization moment of, why do you want to get up at 4 a.m.? Genuinely wanting to be doing it and not to be in a race or to prove that you are also doing because the rest of the world is doing. I should not be left behind. I also have to put a tick mark in that particular line item. No, that will not last even beyond a few days or years. So the most important, the very first point is the choice. Second is the connection, right? Why you want this? For me, I had a larger purpose. You don't do something because I have to just get up as a habit, but that habit you're trying to do, it fits into a much larger picture. So what is that larger picture for you? I wanted because I wanted to be more happy. I wanted to be more healthy. My overall health, wellness, happiness was the bigger purpose. And this was one of the enablers or habit to get there, right? It's one of the starting points to get there. So that larger connection has to be there, the purpose, why you want to do it, and rather than, just doing something for being accepted by others or whatever. So that is very, very important. And the third important aspect is consistency, right? See, in today's very, very fast-paced world, we are so used to instant noodles, instant packages, everything, immediate results. We don't have the patience to wait. So that's become a part of the general social, cultural aspects. So don't look for instant results. Do it very gradually. So I think it's very important to understand yourself, what will work for you, because I keep telling you this to all my friends and colleagues every single session, that no one solution fits all. Every individual is unique. Everybody's life is very unique. You need to know what works for you. Even after listening today to me or to many others who are practicing this, what is your nature, your personality, and what will suit you is something you will have to figure out and then customize the habit that will work for you. So that becomes very, very important, because some people, I know many of my friends who take the resolution on New Year, and it will be there for the first 1 week in a rigor, be it gym, running, or yoga, whatever it is, and any good habit. And after a while, it slowly starts dying down. But it's more about not like this and this. It's more about how do you want. If you want to sustain it in that way, it has to be slow and steady. So go very gradually. If there are people, depending on your sleeping habits, if you are someone who is kind of easier to move to the 4 a.m., you may decide and genuinely feel, and tomorrow you may get up. But there are people who say are waking up for years together, for 20 years and so, for 6:37. And so if you suddenly tell them, okay, tomorrow onwards you wake up at 4, it will not, it will explode. So you can gradually shift left. So once you have decided you want to get into this habit, you may, instead of starting at 6:30, you please keep half an hour ahead and do it at 6 o'clock. Do it for a week, do it for 10 days, do it for a month. What is the duration varies as per the individual. Once you're comfortable doing it, waking up at 6, make the 6 to 5:30, then slowly move to 5. From then moving from 5 to 4 is easier than moving from 6 a.m. to 4 a.m. at one shot, right? So the gradual progression will help you sustain the habit longer. Don't worry if you're left behind. Everybody else is at 4, I am still at 6. It's okay. Take your pace. That will kind of, I don't know if all of you are from TCS or not, just as an analogy, whenever we do an application and roll out, you don't get into steady state on day one. You have your primary, secondary phase and slowly get into your steady state. So if you really want to get there, you need to take that kind of an approach. I think that really becomes very, very important. So for the starting, the formula is choice plus connection leads to consistency. That really helps. Now coming to the pre-phase, I mean, getting up at 4 a.m. doesn't happen. If today I want to get up at 4 a.m., it doesn't start today. It actually starts the previous day. You need to plan the previous day before you hit the bed, right? It becomes very, very important that you mentally agree and decide that tomorrow I want to get up at 4 a.m., tomorrow I want to get up at 5 a.m. And what are the things, if you need to do a backtracking, just like how we do all our project implementations, you have a go live date. How do you go back? Same way, if tomorrow I want to get up at 4 a.m., then what is that I need to agree, because the formula that I use here is the triple H formula, which is the head plus the heart is equal to the hand. Right? What does that mean? Head is where our mind, yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha. Every day say, oh, you can sleep some more time. You can, you don't have to wake up tomorrow. What is the need? There could be another thing, voice coming and telling you, no, it's important if you want to develop this habit. Your heart will have your own set of emotions. There could be a constant fight between your head and a heart. There's always this paradoxes. Rather than listening to one, I always try to take a balanced approach between my head and the heart. Try to understand what this says, what that says, what is the best thing to do. Because we also learn in yoga, right? Tato dvandavad anabi gataha. It's about overcoming the dualities. So if the previous night, if we can really come to our internal understanding, having a conference with the self, yes, I'm deciding to wake up tomorrow. Hand is nothing but your action, your karmendriya. If your head and heart are in sync, automatically the hand does what they tell, both together tell. Right? So I decide previous night that I'm going to wake up the next day, irrespective of how many ever years it is. That's a mental thing. Today, it happens very automatically for me because I've been doing it quite regularly. But in the beginning, it's a very conscious exercise that you may want to do so that you keep all your stuff ready, right? I used to, in the beginning, I used to iron my office clothes for next day, previous day, night. I used to take care of my kids' uniform previous day, night. I used to keep all the things ready for the kitchen next day morning, decided the menu as to what it is. I used to keep everything kind of do it and ready. So all that was required for the next day morning, I used to do this before hitting the bed. So for me, waking up was much easier. So that preparatory habit of head plus heart equal to the hand is extremely important. Waking up at 4 a.m. on day 1 starts on day 0 or day -1. You really need to kind of prepare yourself. Otherwise, no, the next day the hand will go and snooze the alarm. If you don't want to snooze the alarm and you want to wake up and you want to stop the alarm even before it rings at 3:55, then I think this was really helping, and you realize that yoga, the more and more we learn the concepts and the fundamentals, that all the 3 H's kind of work in harmony, the thoughts, emotions, and actions. Right. So, and I always, Srinivas Pulluri ji's words always keep coming many a times in different contexts. And he says that you have to train your mind, not control your mind. And training your mind means it's like treating your baby, just like how you tell what is right and wrong, getting to an understanding. Once you get to an understanding, it automatically kind of falls in line with you, rather than every day going and fighting and trying to keep controlling it. So I think just like how we as parents teach the children to embrace things, I think we need to do the same thing with our mind and the heart. And that way, that kind of works. Now, okay, we do the preparatory work. Now we are getting started with the habit, but how do we sustain it for many years, right? Otherwise, you may do it for a while and you might kind of stop. For me, the third formula that has really worked is awareness plus acceptance is equal to action. That's what I would say. Because
now we
this
come to
habit
3 A's.
is the 3 A's. Yes, the first is the 3 C's, the next is the 3 H. And the third formula is the 3 A's. Any habit we would continue to do when we see value, right? If it's benefiting me, I'm going to do. If it's not benefiting me, why am I going to do? It's a very simple human tendency. So what is that I am going to feel motivated and energized to wake up at 4 a.m.? Waking up at 4 a.m. may be a very small thing, but actually it gives a very lot of compound interest benefits, right? For me, I make it a habit to do my introspection every single day when I wake up at 4 a.m. Now, I've heard people tell you need to do this before going to bed, but I do what works for me. When I hit the bed, I'm in a tamasic mode at the fag end of the day, right? Tired with so many personal, professional commitments, and you just want your body and mind to rest. I don't do my deep thinking, and just before that, it doesn't suit me. My sattvic qualities are the least at that point of time. But early morning, I feel very, very energized, and my thinking is a lot more clearer. And that's when I do my daily introspection. I reflect on the previous day, and I look at what are the things that happen. Is there good things that I do? There are things that I could have handled better. How do I become 1% better than my previous day today? So that is a reflection that I try to do every single day and see how I can become a little bit more from my Rajasic to Sattvic or Tamasic to whatever that changes can I work out, right? And many a times there are situations in which we can't control others and we get impacted. So how do we kind of stay detached, and how do we really, kind of still try to do what is we think as right? So all those things, moments, reflections help me get better clarity in terms of what actions I have to take. So for that, it helps you when you start reflecting more and more that self-awareness. Nowadays, when I studied all these concepts in YIC, YCD and thing, it gave me a lot more self-awareness of what is happening inside me, right? Now I know when whether I'm able to do it rightfully or not successfully every single day, that's a secondary point. But at least I'm becoming more and more self-aware, and my acceptance levels have grown very higher, right? Better than how it has been before. So I'm able to slowly practice that equanimity kind of a thing little by little. And then that leads to a action. Action is a response rather than a reaction. So how can we reduce our reactions and increase our actions, right? So one such thing is that introspection, that total silence with just yourself. And I really love that moment, because when I wake up, everybody else in my home is sleeping, right? They wake up a little later after 5-ish and things. And whole neighborhood is very calm. There's no light, nothing anywhere. I go to my garden or my balcony. It's so much of fresh air, that oxygen, that nascent oxygen when it flushes against your skin. Those small moments and pleasures that you enjoy actually gives you those kind of, like a child getting a chocolate, right? But motivation, small things that you look forward to when you actually wake up, right? So you feel, and when you drink that water, the panchabhutas that you experience, and you gather those energy from each one of them in multiple ways. So you then do your own sadhana, whichever activity it may be. Then it also helps you to give a lot of clarity in decision making in your work, your personal life, come up with creative solutions, strategy, approaches. All the things that you want to do, you're able to do. You feel very energized. You become very productive the rest of the day. And I know the days, if I hadn't done any of this, how my day would be. It would be kind of totally different, not the same as how it is. So when you know the difference between a normal, regular kind of a thing, and when you have seen the value of this, you start getting motivated. I want to get up tomorrow at 4 a.m. because it's leading to a lot of benefits, and you're able to imagine if you can improve even that point note of 1% every day, or even that week or a month. At the end of 365 days, we will be a little percentage more sattvic and better than what we were before, right? So I think this, I would say, are the three formulas which really help. One is by choice. You need to have that larger connection that will lead to consistency. Then you need to have the head and the heart leading to your hand, which is your action. And the third would be your awareness, acceptance, and that's again leading to the sattvic action. I feel these three has personally worked, and I don't apply this only for my 4 a.m. habit, but for any of the habits that I want to cultivate and improvise and sustain over years. This has kind of really helped me.
Wonderful, Shantiji. And it's easy for us to remember as well, right? Just for everyone's benefit and for my own revision, let me repeat that. The 3 C's being a choice. You make a choice that you want to, so you have to initiate that, number one. I have a question there, I'll come back to you on that. And then connection. So what is this leading to? A larger goal that you might want to achieve, and then doing it regularly, that is consistency. And then to prepare yourself to get into these new habits, so you align your head, heart, leading to hands, that is action. So thoughts, emotions, and actions aligning well towards a new habit. And then much deeper, the next trio, that is, have better awareness of your current state of mind and experience solitude and silence, and which will lead to greater acceptance of the reality and leading to better action in terms of responses rather than reactions. Beautiful. And it really shows your 25 years of corporate journey, formulating everything into simple bullet points to remember the 3 C's, 3 H, and 3 A's. So with that, I have 3 questions now. Now you have
Okay.
prompted me to come up with 3 things. So
Sure.
one, what time do you sleep?
I normally sleep by 10. I try to get into the bed, and it starts little earlier. I have my, small wind-up habits. And as I told, the preparatory things that I try to do before the previous day. And by 10 o'clock, I try to go to bed. 10 to 4 is my sleep time. But of course, now with the academic journey, it's not 10 to 4. It's a different...
Yeah, with so much action happening in your Sangam group, yeah.
No, it's not 10 to 4, so it's different. But yeah, at least I think this is again a debatable topic. Everybody has different views about sleeping and what's right and what's not right. I feel again it boils down to the individual. There's no one fixed formula of sleep that one, it works for me, it works for the other. No, because throughout the day, what a person does and lot other attributes influence the sleep formula as well. So I think it's important to do our own trial and error and find out, which I have done for myself. I've done different sleep patterns to see what suited me before I stuck to one pattern. For me, a solid sleep of 4 to 6 hours is good enough for me to sustain the entire day. Initially, when you start, there will be hiccups. You may feel tired and things. But as I said, when you look at all the 3 formulas and start doing it, it kinds of that energy levels are taken care. But for me, when it goes below the minimum quality sleep, yes, it does affect me the next day. And I've seen that when I've slept very less and not a quality sleep, and what kind of day it kind of turns out to be. And so for me, that 4 to 5 hours, 4 hours is very, very important. Key critical is that 4 hours. Of course, yes, 4 to 6 hours is good.
Okay. So that leads me to the second question. So you kind of partially answered it already. So on those days when you feel sleepy during the day because you didn't have quality sleep the previous night, what do you do to keep you floating through the day with good amount of energy?
So I'm a person who doesn't sleep during the day. I can't sleep. For me, if I sleep in the night, that's the only time I sleep. If I lose, then it kind of becomes difficult. And for my nature of life, personal and professional, I can't afford to sleep in the daytime also. Very rarely, probably that might happen in case of a pandemic or something when it struck. But if I feel energized, what I do, for example, when I'm going on the way to work, in my vehicle, I take my power naps, not literally sleeping in a bed, but even while sitting, when I close my eyes and not think about too much, I just try to close my eyes, not do any work, listen to anything, and get up after 10 minutes. That energizes. So I do short power naps in my sitting postures. So I started practicing that kind of, like, I think Japanese culture, they have this forced thing that they do at office where they tell the employees after every, so one of our Japanese customers also follows that, where it is mandatory for them to switch off their laptop and do that exercise and then continue, because they work very, very long hours. So power naps really help. And of course, whenever I think I really want a break, or it's too much happening at work, I just don't have any meetings, take a few minutes off, put a meeting for self, and I just go and do pranayama, or I just simply sit and not to get into any of the discussions or anything. That when it really calms you down, the energy levels are automatically kind of rises up back. Then you feel good, go for a walk, few minutes. So these kind of small habits kind of energizes you, like your energy bars throughout the day. So those kind of small things I do.
Thank you, Shanti. So that leads me to the third question. How much of these, so because when we kind of started this 4am club or Sattvic Habits Club, so we started this, so especially many women pinged me individually and asked, how do I make this happen? I want to get up early. I used to get up early in the earlier years of my life, but now life has become so busy with family, especially women in this part of the world. You know what I mean? So there are more responsibilities associated with the family. So I need to cook food and serve everyone and eat myself and clean up the house, prepare for breakfast next morning, put the kids to sleep. Just the list itself, when I start
It's
hearing the
very
list,
daunting.
it's daunting. So, and then you go to sleep. By the time I do that, it will be 11 p.m. or 12 midnight. And how do I get up early? So, question is, how much of this me wanting to get up early in the morning, whether it is 4 a.m. or 6 a.m., anywhere in between, how much of a role family members play in this? Either play a spoil sport, not intentionally, but just naturally, and how much of influence we need to probably have, how much of winning over them we need to do so that we can comply to our habit intentions.
I totally agree. I've been this journey as a woman. All the lists that you say, I'm sure all the women out here would relate to as well. It becomes very extremely important for the family members to be quite supportive. But let's be very practical also, right? I know personally my own family members, others, those who are supportive, those who aren't supportive. I know my friends' families where such things happen. So I think that first formula, which I told, the choice and connection has to become, forget about the C for the time being and the others. But once you have decided to put yourself in priority, that has to be a very strong sankalpa, I would say, that once you have decided and taken, we'll always figure out ways how to make it happen, especially women, if we really want that. Irrespective of the gender for that matter, we really need to want that. Then sit and have a conversation with the family members that this is very important for me and need to do. Because generally I keep telling my friends, like when I used to go for my Fit for Life batches, most of the guys come, when they ask, yeah, my wife is busy cooking breakfast, I have to just go finish my workouts and have it. But what happens to her health? When does she practice? Why are you not bringing your wife along to the thing? Then why can't we work out? So it becomes very important for, be it in-laws or parents or sibling, whomever you're staying with or your spouse, to understand, sit and have a conversation how important this is for me and for them. Because I know the value of somebody falling sick. I've really, there have been situations in the family where, so one person falls sick, the entire family gets disrupted. So everybody has to tune their life around taking care of them, right? So being healthy is only going to make a much more happier family. So today, I think the family members are a lot more understanding, but because of the want and time and other clashes, things are happening. But there are families where that understanding is not there. So what I would say, or what I did, is irrespective of, you first make an attempt, make people understand. If they do, great, we are lucky and we are blessed and be grateful for that happening to us. And you can do that quite easily. But in case you're in a situation where it is not that very conducive, the members are not, you as an individual has to take a call. You have to be very strong about your resolve that this is important to me. That's why I said, being focused, priority of health for self becomes bold, underline, italics, whatever we want to say. Once you have decided, then you make a list of items as to what you want to compromise and you don't want to compromise. Because as women, we have this tendency also, and sometimes it's also kind of enforced because of the family members and situation. We have to cook, we only have to take care of the things, we only have to do all of this, and it has to be ditto, it has to be perfect, it has to be to the T. Then only we have to do if it has to be exactly as per our liking. Why don't you start outsourcing? You're doing that at your work. You can do, it's okay if somebody else comes and cooks. I started having a help who will come and do me, because for me, doing everything was becoming daunting, right? So at some point, if I wanted my time, then I had to cut down few things. And what are the items is okay to cut down, which will not influence or impact the family drastically? What can be accepted? And that's not something I say tomorrow I stop everything. No, it again is a gradual way of influencing, knowing your family members. You know best how to influence them. So you decide a list of items where you think you don't have to do it and you're still okay to accept when somebody else does it. So I put a list of items. Then I decided these are the things are very core and critical, which I want to do personally. These are the items I'm okay if it is done by somebody, and I will adjust if it is not exactly as it is. That is also teaching us yoga in a different way, right? So once you put down that list, then slowly implementing it is going to get you into the journey towards a goal that you really want. But you have to be extremely strong about you wanting to focus on your health. If you're very strong, irrespective of supportive or unsupportive family members, you will definitely be able to move ahead in your journey. You will find out ways in which that can be worked out. That's the
Wonderful. So in fact, I see this in especially a lot of women, that many women also carry a sense of guilt that I have to place my family members' well-being as a priority, and in the process, our own health gets compromised, and it starts showing up as the decades roll by. When especially when you're into your 40s, it starts showing up, and equally for all the, if I mention the phrase working people, it's going to be debatable because we all work, irrespective of the nature of work we do, either at home or at office or combination of both. In a typical rat race, night outs and consistent late night working, all weekends cramped with work items. So there are so many things that we end up doing in a Rajasic spirit in 20s and 30s especially. And many people go on to do it for the rest of the decades as well. Somewhere we forget that this whole thing, right, in the aeroplane, they say, first wear your mask, and then you put the mask to others. So we do end up compromising our own health and well-being. And many people carry this guilt that I'm being selfish. It's not being selfish, it's being self-caring, right? Wonderful. Thanks for explaining that, Shantiji. So we have last couple of minutes left. So audience, please, if you have any questions, please do post in the chat, because if everybody starts unmuting, it will be a bit of chaos to handle. So please post your questions. And meanwhile, we wanted to talk about, Shantiji, your sun salutation exploits as well. I think we'll have an exclusive session just for that, because it really deserves a good amount of time to talk about sun salutation in detail. So we'll reserve that for another session if you're okay with that.
Sure.
Okay. So people, if you have any questions to ask, please do. And towards the end, Sri Hariji, just a time check, is there a session scheduled at 6 on the same link?
We are flexible.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Very rarely we'll see 50 people on a Sunday morning. So really good to see the intent of people. So people, if you have any questions, please do. Or yeah. So this interesting question. So Ms. Sita Lakshmi is asking, what do you do if you slip from time? So this is another thing. I missed asking this. I made a mental note to ask, but I missed it. So I used to feel this, right? And my wife has been on the receiving end of this. When I miss a certain morning schedule, I'll be so harsh on myself throughout the day. I mean, that harshness has reduced over a period of time as life mellows you down quite a bit over the years. But I used to be very angry on myself the days when I don't get up early, because it's a ripple effect of not having your day starting at the with the right mood. So has it happened with you, and how have you handled those?
Yeah, many times, numerous times. I've been very harsh on myself. I'll tell you, when I kind of started my marathon journey in between few years back, and ran marathon for some 5-6 years. And that time, rain or shine, I used to tie my shoes. I was, for the wanting to reach certain kilometers, it was pushing me, and I used to go. But when there are days when I was not able to do it, I used to feel upset naturally. As you said, all of us go through that, being hard on ourselves. So it's not new. I think this happens. What I realized when I kind of discussed and shared with similar people who are very active, and when you don't get up a certain day and it becomes a dull day, it becomes very difficult. Then you're not ready to be fine with it, because the rest of the days goes. So there were definitely numerous days where it happened, but now I don't feel that anymore at all. I've totally overcome that. The main thing was acceptance, Manjuji. The third formula may what happened, right? So when I started doing my introspections and things, I used to really reflect on what cost, rather than we are all about the outcome in terms of, okay, we didn't get up today, we didn't do, our day went bad. Fine, it can happen. It'll never be a perfect 365 days. There can be 100. But why did it happen? Have you really sat and reflected as to why you were not able to get up? Is it because you had a very late night work? And it's just a one of a kind emergency situation, is okay. But is it constantly repeating, because of which you are more constantly slipping your day? Or is it because you were unwell that you could not get? Or because there are days when people have a fight, hit the bed, and you're mentally not having the mood and the motivation to wake up next day? It could be hundreds of reasons, right? Once we understand why that is happening, and is there something I can do about it? And if you're able to accept, yes, that has happened, next time, let me see how I can handle. If we start doing this slowly over a period of time, nowadays, I'm not hard on myself when I slip. If there are days for whatever reasons that I'm not able to do, I have not really, it doesn't affect me anymore. It used to, but not anymore. But that awareness and acceptance thing has helped me big time. And I'm a lot more calm if I don't exercise that day.
So thanks. So that helps, right? So Ms. Lakshmi, so we can be gentle on ourselves to build this as a consistent habit over a period of time. So there will be days, inevitable slips will happen. So yeah, so we can be more consistent in the future, but not beat ourselves if we miss a day. Because this is also an obsession towards perfection, can also be an OCD sometimes, right? Obsessive compulsive disorder, where I want to tick all days of the month. There will be days when we won't be able to. So let's be gentle on ourselves and then accept some of the lapses.
And the other point, just to add to the same thing, Manjuji, I think now, since we all have more exposure to stimulation relaxation concept, we totally forget that. We always want to constantly keep stimulating. Where is your relaxation for your body? Even by timetable, if you're getting into a habit, you should not be doing every single day a very registic kind of thing, workouts in the morning. We need to have our balanced thing. So it's okay if we don't do certain days. How do you? So if we constantly keep thinking about that, I think that balance also will help us to get that acceptance and be a lot more calm.
True. And also, especially women, for example, there are days when you're menstruating, for example. So when you may not be able to be at your best energy all the time. So maybe we can be flexible on those days, or practice some alternate things which will help to regain the energy in that period. So Priyanka is prompting me through a DM that Shanti ji is a Shilambam practitioner, and you have many videos on YouTube on this. So we'll explore that part when we do the sun salutation episode with you. Thank you, Priyanka, for prompting. Priyanka, I'm not sure if the same Priyanka. I'm still to send you the Patanjali Yoga Sutras chanting audio. Hopefully, I'll do it today and finish on that. And okay, so there are two more questions, very broad topics again, so which we may not be able to address in comprehensively today. Is there a prep for sleep, quality sleep before you go to bed? Yes, we'll have a separate session just on how to get good quality sleep so that you can wake up early for achieving greater goals in life. So we'll have a separate discussion on that. I don't know the name, it shows iPhone here. So we'll have tons of questions on sleep quality. We'll do a separate session on that. Same thing goes for Supriyaji. You have asked about food. Food is a very broad topic. Again, probably you'll be able to cover sleep with a few hours of discussion. Food is a very broad topic, so we'll take it up in a separate episode. Yes, we'll be as a part of the habits that we will include eating the right food and the right quantity at the right time. So these are the three habits that we will bring in as we go along. So we started with one, right, which is waking up early. And there's no science to why we started with waking up early as the first habit. It's just my personal preference of 4 a.m. as the first habit, because we have to start somewhere, right? For some people, sleeping early is a prerequisite, and get a better quality of sleep is a prerequisite for waking up early. So there's no, it's a loop, right? So all the habits are kind of connected with each other. So hence we thought, okay, let's start with one and then bring in others as we go along. So hence we started with waking up early between 4 and 5, and then doing sun salutations as a, even if we do 2 or 4 or 6, it doesn't matter what number. We'll get to that. We'll start taking up some quantified goals on the number of sun salutations as well as the weeks roll by. But we'll talk about it. So food, Supriyaji, we'll take a separate episode to talk about food, not just one, multiple episodes. Currently, we are meeting at a periodicity of about, last time we met, what? It's been a month already, or more than a month, right? We had the first habit huddle about waking up early. So once in few weeks, we'll meet and we'll take one topic at a time, and we'll keep doing this throughout the year. Subhashini ji is asking any suggestions on how do you get your family and to support you in this journey. So Shanthi ji already answered part of this, Subhashini ji, but I'm going to note all these questions you're asking and have one episode just on each of these questions. They really deserve a deep dive discussion. So Jayaji is asking, any episode of you try to get support of your family members but failed? I'm sure there'll be many instances we'll speak about it in that specific episode. How 200 sun salutations were performed? Teji is asking, so we'll talk about it in the next sun salutation special episode. Your sample morning routine. I think Shanti ji explained it, that she wakes up. Yeah, I think, do you want to summarize how is your typical morning routine? Any variations to that?
Yeah, okay. Variations will be during travels and other times, but on a typical day when I am at home, I wake up and I follow my dinacharya. I need to have my baths before I start performing my yoga. So I need to feel fresh also. So I do those dinacharya activities. Then I have my introspection. I practice my pranayama. I have my yoga classes, which I attend early in the morning. I go to my yoga class nearby. And those are those things that I want to plan for the day, and where I really want to come think of certain solutions and stuff. Then I start working on those, all the things that I want to do in my me time before I get into the regular routine of kitchen, school, office, and other things. That would be a typical.
Thank you. And also, so Subhashini ji, it's a very personal thing, right? So based on your priorities and your family ecosystem and your larger context of your life, so you can evolve your own morning routine that suits you. Ganesh ji, yes, we'll speak about, I think this is emerging as a strong theme, right? How do you influence your family members, and if they don't support you, how do you overcome that? So we'll speak about it in the subsequent sessions. And Ujas is adding to the beautiful formula of 3C. The fourth C is charging your energy. So Ujas is a meditation teacher, and I think we should have regular meditations going on. We'll add that to our schedule. Charging point. to replenish your energy levels to keep going. Teji is asking, why are you conducting the sattvic habits, satsang, motivating, etc.? Want to hear from you. I think so. Two things, right? One, personally for me, it really works well when I do things together with others. Okay, there's a greater synergy, and we rub positively on each other's intentions, positive intentions, and energy. So very simply put, when things done in group, there is greater chance of uh, imbibing better and more sattvic qualities. That's the power of satsang. And again, I quote, someone mentioned, we ran habit surveys, and one of the people mentioned that don't give up on us, right? So the group collective energy will ensure that we don't give up on ourselves and on each other. So it will rub. See, that's right. There are about 290 people in this WhatsApp group. Only consistently about 30 to 35 people post their thumbs up on I woke up early. And the sun salutation number is right now little lesser than the number of people who are expressing emojis for waking up early post. What's happening with remaining 250 plus people? Some day will come when it'll positively influence on others as well. And there's a mutual, there is an implicit commitment for each other. So, Mr. Tej, that's the intention behind forming this community, small community, and in the days and years to come, it should expand, right? So the wave will spread and more people will start embracing this, including your family members and friends. So that's the intent of doing it together than solo endeavor. Wonderful. So I think we are well past the top of the hour, and let's keep this energy and intention going. We'll conclude it with another centering practice. Okay. I request everyone to sit straight because on that note, we'll conclude after that. So a big thank you, Shantiji, for taking your time out. And Srihariji and Lalitaji, I always see you together in all Sangam sessions. So wonderful to see couples participating together. So I need to know your secret of how, I don't know who won over each other. So we'll listen to that. Was it Lalitaji influencing Srihariji to wake up early and participate together, or other way around? So we'll figure that out. So couples doing things together is a big plus in forming new habits. So we'll cover that in the subsequent influencing family members for Sattvic Habits episode. Okay, so a big thank you, Shanti ji, and we are still not done. We'll do repeated sessions on sun salutation exploits that you had as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And right now we are in a WhatsApp forum, only admin only posts for an intention. So purposefully it is admin only. We'll figure out if we can bring better mechanisms where everybody can participate and will have more engagement in the future. Okay. Thank you so much. With that, let's have silence practice for 2 minutes and then conclude.
Thanks for being patient listeners to all of them.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shantiji. Thanks everyone. I didn't really expect 50 people to turn out. So wonderful that you all made it. All right. So let's keep holding our hands and walk this together. Okay. So don't forget that this is a collective journey and a long one at that. This is not stopping at few weeks or few months. Let's make it as a lifelong journey. On that note, I request everyone to again sit straight, close your eyes. Both the feet firmly rooted on the ground. Relax your shoulders, spine straight. Inhale deeply. Exhale and drop the weight of the body on your seat. Keep a gentle smile on your face. Inhale deeply. Exhale and let go. Completely relax all the parts of the body, your legs, waist region, abdominal region, chest region. Relax completely. Shoulders and hands, neck region, facial muscles, entire head region. Energize yourself with a deep breath. Exhale and let go. Observe the inhalation and exhalation. Recollect how you signed up for the habit huddle. And the events that led to participation in this habit huddle. The energy and intention you carried to make it today's event. The questions that you had, answers that you got. And more questions yet to be answered. Let us reinforce our positive resolution to imbibe more and more sattvic habits, one at a time, for a healthier and happier lives for ourselves, our families, and friends. Let's become a better version of ourselves as weeks and months roll by. Let us discover and realize the eternal happiness in this journey. Let's walk this journey together. With this resolution and commitment, with a broad smile, you may blink a few times and open your eyes for a wonderful Sunday that lies ahead of us. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day ahead with your loved ones. Sri Hariji, thank you so much for enabling this forum in terms of WebEx. See how WebEx is deep-rooted. Zoom and live streaming. This recording will be made available in the 4 AM Club YouTube channel soon. You can catch up. And those who have missed can catch up as well. See you again tomorrow at 4 AM. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.